The word percent, which is usually represented by the symbol here, means of each 100 or out of 100. So 35% means 35 out of 100 in general. P% equals P over 100. Two separate wholes cannot be combined. For example, 25% of the world is lava and 95% of Hyde Hall's lava can't be combined because they are two different wholes.
Percentages that we encounter frequently are 25%, 50%, 75%, 10%, 20%, and 5%. Along with these percentages comes with their equivalent fractions: 1/4, 1/2, 3/4, 1/10, 1/5, and 1/20. If you look below, these are some drawings that go along with them for, like, let's say 25%. This is how you would draw it to make it 1/4, and then 50% obviously. And if you know these common percents/fractions, you can easily extend them to nearby percentages and fractions. So as we can look below, 55% is a little more than 1/2 and is halfway between 50% and 60%, or 15% is 1/4 minus 10%. Let's look at this next drawing. This next drawing is split into 4 sections, each worth 25, because if you were to add the 25s all up, it'd get you 100. So up until about here, we have 25, 25, 25, which is 75. So then this last 25 section is split into 5 fifths, and only one of the fifths is shaded. So if you were to add this all up, be 25, 50, 75, and then 80, get you 80% shaded, which is 80 over 100, which equals 8 over 10, which equals 4 over fifths. Using algebra to solve percents is our next section. If we look at this basic percent problem in which the portion is unknown and the percent P and the whole amount are known. So here's the example. Susie must pay 7% tax on her purchase of $54. How much tax must Susie pay? So first, solve the equation. So to set it up, you put 7 over 100, which equals the tax over the $54. Solving algebraically, such as by multiplying both sides of the equation by 54, we find that the tax equals 0.07 times 54 equals $3.78.
One way to help solve percent problems is to use a percent table. When you're given a problem such as, what is 6% of $40? We can use percent tables to help break down the problem by going through 1%. We know that 100% of $40 is 40, and we can find what 1% of $40 is by dividing by 100. So 1% of $40 is $0.40. To find 6%, we can simply multiply what 1% is by 6. So $0.40 times 6 is $2.40. Let's try another one. How about the problem calculate 15% of 6,500? We know that 100% is 6,500, and we can break down 15% into percentages that we can solve more easily. We know that 5 plus 10 is 15, so we can find 10% and 5% and then add them together. 10% of 6,500 is 650, and 5 is half of 10, so we can do 650 divided by 2 is 325. Then all we have to do is add 10% and 5% together to get 15%. So 650 plus 325 equals 975%.
Here's a real-life word problem that can be solved using a percent table and can be useful in your life. If a third cup serving of cheese provides your full daily value of calcium, then what percentage of their daily value of calcium is provided by 3/4 cup of cheese? I'm going to show you how to solve this problem by using a percent table. If 100% equals 1/3, which we got from the word problem, then we can divide 3 or 1/3 by 4, and by doing that we can do the reciprocal and get 1 times 1 is 1 and 3 times 4 is 12, which gives us 1/12 and 25%. We got the 25% because what we do on one side we have to do to the other. From there, we can take 1/12 and we have to make sure that it's 3/4 because that's what we're trying to figure out. To do that, we times by 9 to get to 9/12, which is the same as 3/4. And what we do to one side, we do to the other once again. And 25 times 9 is 225, giving us our 3/4 cup of cheese equaling 225%.
Let's try another word problem. Margaret received 6 cartons of milk, which was 30% of her total order. How many cartons of milk did she order? What we know is that 30% is 6 cartons of milk. What we need to find out is how many cartons are in 100% of her order, or her total order. We know that 30% is 6 cartons, so we can figure out what 60% is by doubling 30%. So 6 plus 6 is 12. To find 90%, we can add 30% and 60%. So 6 plus 12 is 18. Now all we need to find is 10% because 90% plus 10% equals 100%. So to do that, we can divide 30 by 3 to find 10%. So we'll do this over here too. So 6 divided by 3 is 2. Now all we need to do is add 90% and 10% together. So 18 cartons plus 2 cartons equals 20 cartons in her total order.
Sometimes it's easy to solve a percent problem by thinking in terms of equivalent fractions. For example, how much is 6% tax on a purchase of $50? We can solve this problem mentally by thinking that 6% means $6 for every $100. Since 50 is half of 100, then we can figure this out by dividing by 2. 100 divided by 2 is 50, and 6 divided by 2 is your tax, which is $3.